And by doing that, just before his end of life, he dies on the path of Jannah and he enters Jannah. Sheikh Abdul Aziz Muhaddith Dehlvi Rahmatullahi alayhi was one of the great scholars in the last few centuries in India. He is known for his expertise in Quran. He was a mufassir and he was also a translator of Quran, one of the very first people to translate Quran into the Hindi language or the Urdu language. He had a close friend from his childhood so he grew up to be an imam, a scholar, a mufassir, a muhaddith, a teacher of Islam. And his childhood friend grew up to be a pandit, a Hindu priest. So even though they were far apart from each other on their religion, on their paths, but their friendship never died. They were still friends and close friends, to the extent that this Hindu pandit used to come to the masjid and would come to the madrasa, the institute where Sheikh used to teach. And he would spend time over there and he would carry out his worship over there to the sun. So every day he would come over there and he would offer his worship to the sun. He would take a bath and then he would worship the sun. So the Shaykh wouldn't say anything. His grandson says, I am the eyewitness of the manifestation of this hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I saw how Allah changes something, how destiny changes something. So this man, for his entire life, he lived like a Hindu and he practiced the worship of gods besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then his grandfather, Sheikh Abdul Aziz rahmatullahi alayhi, he died. But this man, he continued to come here. He continued his practice and he would come here. So his grandchildren, they were scholars as well. Out of their respect, they wouldn't stop him either because their grandfather wouldn't stop this man either. So one day, he goes out to worship the sun. And as he's worshiping the sun, he comes back and he says to this man, the grandson of Sheikh Abdul Aziz Muhaddith rahmatullahi alayhi, he says, I want to embrace Islam. I have realized myself, I know your grandfather never asked me to. We didn't have any conversation. We would have conversation about God, about Allah, about all of that. But he never explicitly asked me to convert. So I stayed on my path and he stayed on his. But now I have realized that I want to embrace Islam. So he asked him, how? What happened? He said, I've been worshiping this sun for all my life. And I've realized that I am more free than sun. I can go anywhere. I have freedom of movement. I have freedom of speech. I have all of those privileges that the sun doesn't. The sun, every day at a certain time, it has to rise. Every day at a certain time, it has to set. So it's obeying someone else's commands, and it can't be God. So therefore, I realize that it is only Allah who is worthy of worship. So I want to embrace Islam. And he said, I've learned enough from your grandfather that I know a lot about Islam, but I want you to be my witness when I say the Shahada. So he said, you can say the Shahada, but you have to get circumcised. So he said, it's okay, I'm ready to do whatever it takes to become Muslim. He said, okay, I'll help you take the Shahada. So then he said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. And there he became a Muslim. He said, I don't have any children, they have all died, but I do have some grandchildren. And my fear is that my grandchildren will kick me out of my house. When they find out that I'm a Muslim, they will kick me out of my house. I don't have any worry about food. I get enough food. But if you allow me to stay in this institute, in this madrasa, I want to spend whatever time I have here. because they will kick me out of my house. He said, you don't even have to worry about house. You don't have to worry about anything. I will take care of you as my own grandfather because you were my grandfather's friend. So don't worry about anything. And only 40 days later, this man died. He said, I saw this with my own eyes. This is the manifestation of this hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He spent his entire life in Hinduism, and then 40 days before his death, he embraced Islam and he went into Jannah. Inshallah. So there's also bayan afterwards, inshallah. Everyone is invited to participate, inshallah. Jazakumullah.
Yeah,